Okay guys, this is the video on how to prioritise your day. We're going to be going through the Franklin Covey diary, and I'm going to be showing you how to block out important components to your day and week, and then acting in order of priority with a daily prioritised action list. And I'll be doing this with the diary open, so you will not see my face. So this is the Franklin Covey diary. As you can see, it's in a nice binder. We've got all the months in tabs here, and what we do, because it's so big in terms of how much pages you would have in the diary, we just fill 3 months at a time. So you can see in mine all the earlier months are gone, and we're currently sitting here September, and I've put the pages in for that month, so I pull them out. You can see my month, so all of my appointments are planned in the month, and then we have a day and then a notepad, daily notes, things you can note. And so if we're to get an appointment for something like a meeting, planning for Tom, planning on your production manager, planning a contractor, planning for something that's going to take up some of your time, we are to write it in to the day in the month. So you can see month, we've got all the days of the month. And the example would be if your production manager, Tom, was meeting you at 11 a.m. on the 23rd, you'd put Tom, and you might say have made the meeting on the 17th, the 19th of October, for an example. So a month before. And on that date you would write Tom, meeting on site to discuss planning for next month. So that is then written on the 19th, and on the day here you will put 19:10. And so when you look at that appointment, you can say, okay, Tom, 11 a.m, and when I want to find out the information for what that appointment means, I look at the 19th of the 10th, and I go to that date and I go, oh yeah, okay, Tom, meeting, planning for next month. And then if Tom rings you and says, I can't do it that day anymore, I need to move it to the 30th, all you've got to do is cross out that date and you say 11 a.m, Tom, 19th of the 10th. And all the information's still contained on that day. And it's easy to move appointments. So that's the first thing. So if we were to plan a day, and so if we're doing Friday the 29th of December 2017, the first thing I would do in the morning for that day is to see if I've got any appointments. And I would do that by looking at my December month. And this takes discipline, guys, yeah? It takes discipline to write it in as you make the appointment. And you've got to be proactive around it in terms of making this work, because this is the big ticket item. If you don't put these appointments in, you can't schedule around it. And so if we had meeting Adam, 11 a.m. Okay, so on the 29th of December, we've got a meeting with me. So we go to 11. Now, if we know we've got travel time, we know we've got some things to prepare. We're going to put in here from 11, so we've got 11. We're going to say 10:45. Adam. And we're going to say, okay, it's going to take till 1 o'clock. And so we've blocked out that time for that meeting. And there's only one appointment that day. And so we know we've got various other priority items that we need to do for the day. And that might be build system, edit. So we write that on prioritized daily task list. And it might be complete procedure, Windows. Might be contact Steve, window, plan for the week, plan week. And it might be print procedures, and meet boys. And so we've got 4 things for the day that we know we need to do. And so we determine which ones of those are high priority. And we know we need to plan pretty hard for the week. We know the boys need work to go on with first. And so if we've got to meet the boys to coordinate them so that they're being able to do what they need to do, so they're freeing me up from time if I'm a site manager, it's definitely an A task. And we know that another site's about to do a system in the build system that you've had problems with, and if you don't fix it, they're going to have problems with it. So we know that the build system edit's an A task. No one's doing procedures for Windows for a little while, so finishing the procedure for the Windows, it might go to a B. And the contacting Steve and Willow, the plumber, we don't need them for 3 weeks, so we can put that for a C. But if we get to it, we'll get to it. And so out of the A's, we've got to pick one, which is most important. We determine the boys doing their work while you're free to do other work, which would be these 3, makes it an A1. It's number 1 priority. And then the build system edit will be number 2, because it's essential that that gets done for the next site. And then which one out of these 2 comes next? Well, the B comes next. And because there's only one B, we have a B1. If there was 4 Bs, we need to number them 1, 2, 3, 4 in act in order of priority. Same with the A's. If there was 4 A's, we need to determine which is priority. And so we've got 1 C. Now an A has to be done that day. You have no choice but to do it that day, because you're committing to that. And so then what we do is we schedule it. We know we're starting at 7 a.m. We've got our daily. That's going to go to 15:15. So at 7:15, we're going to go through the procedures with the boys. And that's going to take an hour. So we go to 8:15. And they're set up, ready to go. And so that freed us up to then work on the build system edit. and we need an hour to do that, or we're going to just time block an hour to work on it today. And we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a buffer. We're going to say 9 till 10 and block that time out to do it. And so at 10:45 we know we've got an appointment. So, you know, we can determine if we want to write a couple of emails or we want to go and check on a few things. We can buffer the day, but we've only got 45 minutes. And then not till 1 o'clock, then we've got lunch. So we're back from lunch at 1:30 and we've got a procedure to do on the windows. So we block procedure. And we know we need 2 hours on that. So it's 1:30 to 3:30. That's our day over. So we missed out on contacting Steve and Willow and the boys. And so we realised that we haven't been able to fulfill all of our commitments for the day. And so we review that C and we put it on to our daily notes. C, and we note it. And when we plan that day, we put it in. And as we're going, if we're finding stuff that we realise we need to do and we miss during the day, we note them on our daily notes for the next day. And we start compiling notes of things that we need to do. And so we've constantly got notes. And when we're planning our day or we're planning our week, we can refer to it. And we're starting to track what we need to do and what we don't need to do. Hey guys, so I've done that as a rundown, right? So I just want to make it really clear that for me, I use another tool that I call the 411. I plan my year, my month and my week from that tool. And that enables me to get a bigger picture of my week. And I think that the mindset needs to really shift towards planning your week. Although we've just gone through a day, we want to have a bit of an understanding of what our week looks like, where we need to be when we get to the end of it. And, you know, like if we've got an event on a Friday, we know that by Thursday we've got to get to here. And so I don't want to get too fixated on the day, although each day you should be planning your day. You need to think about it on a Sunday, or, you know, obviously you won't be doing it on a Sunday, but if you were to block some time on a Monday morning in the office after your daily or whatever, or on a Friday afternoon potentially, track where you've been, and that would be a good way to start to think about your week as a whole. These diaries, obviously Rock City would have to supply, and they're not like getting a giveaway from Bunnings or from Reese or anything. These are, you know, highly productive diaries for people that want to really prioritise and act in order of priority when they're preparing themselves for a successful day. So if you were to get one, you would need to use it. But this is something that's taken me quite a while to learn and be committed to. A lot of people like to do their planning via the digital platforms in calendars and stuff, but actually writing it out is really powerful. So please guys, let me know if this video doesn't make sense. I need to be able to improve it so that everyone gets a clear understanding of what it is they need to do, and I know that sometimes they're hard to watch when they're long, so let me know if it should be broken up into smaller chunks. Okay, see ya.